Okay, it is Friday, 20th of May, and we're still in Normandy. Today, what have we on the list there today? Ste Marie du Mont, Marmion Farm, Crisbecq and Aesville batteries. I think we'll head down that coast road. And we'll go to Crisbecq first. Then work our way back down to Ste Marie du Mont, Carentan. Circle back up again. So that's a rough plan. Bide with us and see what happens. So we found this little spot on the D421 road just south of Keeneyville, and it's probably the most panoramic view that you'll find of Utah Beach. I don't think there's any place anywhere else that you'll find that you can see as much beach in one go. Here we have another little fortification. Don't know if this one actually has a name or a designated number, but as we can see, there has been something quite substantial here. And the ring of bolts around the turret, what do you call it? I assume it's possibly a machine gun post. Then we have this big bunker here as well, which looks like it's seen a bit of action. Let's go have a closer look. The first thing we see here is this machine gun port. Shell damage, or it could be bazooka damage. Strike marks. I'm guessing the Americans must have taken a dislike to this place. Yeah, it's all closed off. Huge hole in the roof. And now we've got some highlighted damage.
He changes the chunk and changes the length.
Obviously for the bigger gun. It's definitely taken a few hits. Just spotted this big bunker across the road too. Seemed to be any access to that one, but it is big. Casemate rather than bunker. D15. Lovely day for it.
In 300 yards, turn right onto the D69.
Not sure where that is.
You have reached your destination. The destination is to the right.
We are now at Crisbecq Battery. This is huge German emplacement. It has some guns still in place. Some huge bunkers to explore. So, first bunker in the complex. Already we see strike marks. According to other sources that I've seen, the reason for all the damage to this wall and this roof is whenever the Americans captured the place, they disposed of a lot of explosives and ordnance in here. That really blew the place apart. Look at the door. Way to go, Yanks. Prisoners. I would assume those are prisoners. Slave workers. It's at the brook position. This looks like a very similar one to the last one. Your door in, your door out, your Tobruk position, stairs up to the Tobruk. So apparently this shell came down to the staircase here, hit this wall, left this hole. Shrapnel damage everywhere.
That was just a swallow.
And this is what it looks like from the inside. I wonder if there was anybody in here at that time. Water supply. Just seems to be like a tunnel connecting the different gun positions. And over this direction we can see in the distance the church, and just beyond the church in the mist is the sea. This location was allegedly the first place to spot the invasion force coming. Big panic out of it. Yeah, 40mm anti-aircraft gun. Thickness of this door. The officers that were in command here. Fuel storage. Wehrmacht. 1940. Pump of some description. Vent pipes above here. Bad condition, obviously rotted away. The place was lying for 60 years, neglected, before anybody discovered it and decided to not retrieve it, but preserve it. That's the better word. This here was a machine gun board. You can see anybody approaching. So whoever was in this machine gun position obviously drew a bit of attention to himself. Maybe the sort of attention he didn't want. The grenade trap starts up there, finishes down here. This one's obviously taking a hit up top. Huge cracks all the way to the floor. Strange to think that you're treading the same footsteps as German soldiers.
22.
Same as the last one?
No, that was the first one.
First one. Marlene Dietrich giving us a welcome. There's your wooden form workings again. There are many thousands, maybe millions of tons of concrete they use to make these places.
This is a sub-type 134.
Right. So this is what they cook. Did his business.
Storage bay divided into 2 rooms.
No shortage of beer either. Garlic and beer. Strange thing here, this guy's wearing Russian headgear, Russian uniform. So, I'm indicative of the fact that they use prisoners to slave labour to operate these places. This is almost certainly a first aid station, medical centre. The little one here is just a light shelter. So these reasons breathing as they protect the pump that supplied the battery with water. The sign here says the battery was in fact totally self-sufficient. The garrison of 400 men lived inside much like in a village. So they had everything and they provided everything for themselves. Yes, the fridge, the hooks for hanging meat. A mincer made by Henry Bamford and Sons. It's not even German. Little bit of English hardware. Bofors 40mm anti-aircraft gun, captured by the Germans during the Blitzkrieg in 1940. How they got their hands on that, I'd like to know. But anyway, they did, and they used it, and it's here. Hatch is missing. Nice big bullet hole. 105mm Spanish gun. Why is it Spanish? This is a pod for a 155mm gun. Containers surrounding the pod were used to store shells and powder bags. Each pod has a shelter for the artillery commander and 2 ammunition bays, recovered by the Germans for defence purposes. So there you go, that's why it's Spanish. Nicked by the Germans for their own purposes. Some shell cases. There's the pods for ammunition storage. So no matter what direction the gun was facing, there was ammunition readily to hand. So this position is just exactly the same as where the gun was, just over there. So this time we have a 122mm Russian gun, seized in Russia in 1942 by the Germans for use in France. So it's travelled a bit. Whether I actually saw action here or not is another question. So there you go, 2 gun positions within the battery. Absolutely identical to each other, with the exception they have 2 different guns in place. But if we look further along here where we still have to go, you see all the guns facing out to sea. Let's say more shelters, more tunnels. Okay, just a repeat of what we've seen in other places. Armour. There's some seriously heavy stuff here now. Gun emplacement is exactly the same as before. What we have here, 130mm Chacal gun, French destroyer sunk in Ambleteuse in 1940. Guns recovered by the Germans and placed in pods for coastal defence. So yet again another stolen gun. Typical German camouflage. So, coming near the end of this. Poles for barbed wire, vintage barbed wire. Yeah. So I'm worth the 1050. A couple more guns and a couple more bunkers, you see. Quick trip through the shop and we're done here. Yet again, another identical gun emplacement. Slightly battered, judging by the state of this. So although it says it's a pod for a 155mm gun, that's not a 155mm gun. Apparently the view from the top of this tower is amazing, but I don't think I'll bother. Doesn't say what kind of gun this is, so almost certainly German, but no further info on it. Big sheet of armour lying here. Might not be any Germans here anymore, but the birds are certainly making use of the place. Eh, where are you taking that to? Oh, Laura. Germans are long gone, but the blue tits and the great tits are making use of the stuff. Actually nesting on the arm. But here we have Big Daddy. Pillbox for a 210mm Skoda gun with a maximum range of 33 kilometers. When the Americans arrived at the battery, it only contained prisoners and war wounded. During the night of the 11th and 12th of June 1944, due to their dwindling troop numbers, the Germans received orders to abandon the battery and fall back. Americans therefore set out to destroy the munitions. They accidentally blew up the munition storage bay behind this pillbox, and approximately a dozen US soldiers lost their lives in this accident. Yep.
This isn't here.
I don't know what 210mm looks like. Here's my hand. That's a big gun. I felt like they blew that up. I wouldn't been looking through that. And yet another gun emplacement, identical. This one, 2, 5 gun emplacements here, and this huge beast, all facing towards the sea. So, a bit more reading for you. Pillbox for a 155mm gun with a maximum range of 19 kilometers. Markings around this pod and the red inscription. Possibly see them here. Red inscriptions on the walls. Names of towns, regions, women and even gods. Used as firing references together with the graduated scale on the ground. Bomb shelters were completely destroyed by incessant bombardments which began in April 1944. Then back there. More than 2,800 tons of bombs were dropped on the battery. You can see a rangefinder set down on the edge of the pod. It was found during excavation work at the site, 5.5 meters in length, 20 centimeters in diameter, used to take measures for the firing angles. And this is the rangefinder. Beast of a thing. This is one of the red marks that they were talking about there. Pretty much illegible now. We can see where they've been. Part of the rail system for delivering munitions, guns. This place really did take a hammering from the Yanks. Subtype 134. That's the munition storage bay. Munitions were carried in trolleys placed on rails between the pods and the bays. These underground shelters were camouflaged by layers of grass taken from the surrounding fields. Soldiers moved between the shelters and trenches that linked together the 22 bunkers of this battery. Trenches were 2 metres deep and were camouflaged from aircraft by branches or nets. You can imagine these must have been taken out by hand. This actually looks quite dangerous. Stand on the rail to get down here. This is what was storage for. Probably would have looked a lot later before the Americans tried to blow the place up. I may not show it in the camera, but this is steep. Imagine trying to push a 155mm shell up that hill on that trolley. Can't have been easy work. And most likely, well, that door there will be access to that to Brook. And this is the terrace.
No, it's the terrace up there.
Let's see, not much you can do in that space. No. Marbles maybe. Yeah, again we're seeing signs of battle damage. I'd say that most of this damage here is caused by grenades. Chuck a grenade or two in before you come in.
And that's the since I used to escape.
Another machine gun portal. That looks, it's got a bit of blast damage on it too.
Says that all over.
So that's Crisbecq battery. What do you think of that?
Big.
Kind of goes to show the lengths that the Germans were prepared to go to defend themselves and whatever land it's been taken. But all in vain. As D-Day shows. Right, that'll do us for here. I'll go for a quick walk around the shop here. That's one more trip to the toilet. And see where we're going to head next.
I don't think everybody needs to know about their toilet business.
Aye. We'll tell you about the toilet. We'll even take the camera and video you so you can see what's going on. Okay, bye! This junction here, photograph was taken of American GIs heading down this road to the right. This wee roof, sleepy roof. Outhouse, easily seen on the picture, still there. I know what you're thinking.
Embarqué sur un bateau confortable de compagnie corsaire, administré la baie de Saint-Malo depuis la mer. Quel moment inoubliable.
Recording, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, you say it properly. Bye.
In 600 yards, turn right. In 300 yards, turn right and then left.
Okay, we are in the centre of Ste Marie du Mont, and the reason we are here is to correlate this photograph with this memorial. As you can see, 5 members of Easy Company 506th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, sorry, 6 members, 3 members of the 4th Division in behind them, We have Forrest Guth, Frank Mallet, David Morris, Daniel West, Floyd Talbert and C.T. Smith, all photographed standing at this exact spot back in, I think it was the 11th of June 1944. They're actually slightly closer than that. They were standing at the edge of this curb. So that's where we are now, and there's a plaque on the memorial. It says, "This statue of a World War I French soldier pulled down on June the 20th, 1940 by the German army, put back on its pedestal by the American army on July the 14th, 1945. Talk about walking in the footsteps of... Too late. So in the centre of Ste Marie du Mont, where famous pictures of Easy Company were taken. And the famous war memorial. Another piece of photographic history. Taken right here. Step across. A few more photographs from back in the day. That was soldiers coming in past the church. And again, the Easy Company boys standing at the war memorial. Going towards the pump, which is just here. Here we are, Cafe of 6th of June 1944. 6th of June bar, 1944, Ste Marie du Mont, drinking hot chocolate on a sunny day. Indeed. So where we are now is the site of the Battle of La Fiere Bridge, which we are just crossing. Bit of a confrontation here between American parachutists and a German tank column. So on the date in question, the Americans knew that the tank column was moving this way, coming down that road towards this bridge. So they set up positions just behind those bushes on the other side of the river. Just between the large bush and the house on the other side of the river, Americans' positions. So we can see the road curving to the right in the distance here. This photograph was taken at the time. And we can see the shattered remains of a Tiger tank track. 1, 2, 3 French-built Renault tanks, all destroyed. Right there. And there's your aftermath. The reason the Americans needed this bridge was because the Germans had access to means to flood all the low-lying land in the Normandy Peninsula. They did that, and it left the Americans with only 2 bridges with which to get across. This was one of them. So at the time, the water level, as we're looking at it, roughly to here. About 8 feet deeper than it was. It's caused a lot of problems for the Yanks because as they were making their way inland across the fields, they couldn't see where there were holes, they couldn't see where there were riverbanks. A lot of men disappeared, never to be seen again. And I do apologise for this wind, but this particular time we don't have the wind coming around. You can see just how flat it is. This was all underwater, making life very difficult for troops advancing. But at least they got the tanks just on this bend. There we can see the watermark, which was all but disappeared when the floodwater came through. Tableau in bronze depicting the layout. The house here is over there. Bridge here, there, and you can see tanks coming around the curve. American bazooka ready to take them out, just here. Wasn't quite on the end of the wall as this picture depicts, but fairly close. Here we have another depiction, showing where the action happened. Paratroopers dropping. Showing where we are in relation to our towns, cities. This is Iron Mike. Styled on Lieutenant General James M. Gavin. At this place between 6th and 9th of June 1944, then PG Brigadier General James M. Gavin forever embodied himself as the heart and soul of the 82nd Airborne Division. Original member of the 505 Parachute Infantry Regiment at Fort Benning, he was the Assault Force Commander at Sicily, Salerno and Normandy. Commanded the 82nd Airborne at Market Garden and the Bulge. On this ground he personally secured and held the crossing sites at Chef de Pont and La Fiere, and led the subsequent seizure of the causeway over the Murderay on the 9th of June. His presence stilled the hearts of all those who had served with him and forever embodied what an airborne leader should be. General Gavin never sent his men anywhere, he always led them. He is the soul of the airborne.
Thank you.